All right, Texas, Michigan, the biggest game of the weekend. And like always, we're going to talk quarterbacks. Actually, we're just going to talk Quinn Ewers in this video, the Texas quarterback, talk about what he needs to do against this Michigan defense to have success. There's about 3 or 4 keys I want to go through and go over. And we're going to watch a few clips of film to kind of showcase the type of throws I think he'll need to make against Michigan's defense. But I also want to look at Michigan's defense. And there's a few clips of film as well we're going to kind of break down and show on the screen here in a few minutes, talking about what Michigan's defense potentially does well, at least what they did well against Fresno State. And look, I know Texas are the favorites right now heading into Fresno State. Texas or coming off the Fresno State game. Michigan is Texas crushed Colorado State, and then Michigan had some struggles specifically offensively against Fresno State. But still, Michigan's still one of the better teams in the nation, and it's going to be a tough game for Texas to get that victory. Right. So if they go in there with kind of unnecessary cockiness or confidence, then things could maybe not go their way, right? But with that said, let's talk about Quinn Ewers. Because I think the main theme for me with Quinn going into this game is, can he rise to the occasion of this big game? It's an early big season game. It's an away game. It's going to be a packed house, going to be loud, and it's going to be against the defending national champion team. Very similar to week 2 last year, right? Or week 3 whenever they went to Bama. Bama was one of the best teams in the nation, loud environment. The same question around Quinn was, can he rise to the occasion? And he did. It's probably maybe his best game of his career. If you go back and look at all the big games, especially last year, besides the Washington playoff game, those are all Quinn's best games, right? OU. I know he struggled last year, a few picks early, but bounced back, played really well. Then last year against Alabama, some of his best throws were against Alabama. Some of his best balls pushing downfield, which he quote-unquote struggles with, was against Alabama, right? So can he rise to the occasion? It's kind of my theme for the week, and it's kind of cliche, but I think he's shown it in the past, and he'll have to show it again to beat Michigan. But before we talk about what Quinn needs to do, let's look at Michigan's defense real quick. There's 2 things, at least going off Fresno State. Again, I don't think they showed much against Fresno State, or maybe they showed more than they wanted to, but just like Texas didn't show anything against Colorado State, I think Michigan was maybe holding back some. Now, they got in a dogfight, but that wasn't because their defense, is more because of their offense. With that said, Mikey Keene, the Fresno State quarterback, last week went 22 of 36, 235 yards, 6.5 yards per attempt, 1 tutty, and 2 interceptions. He did have 2 completions where the ball was thrown 20 yards or more downfield. There were a few times Fresno State had wide open receivers. There may be some shots to take, right, if you go off that. But Michigan's defense, the one thing they try to do is bait you. And you saw that with that pick 6 at the end of the game. We're going to show that on the screen here in a second. But they will try to bait you. They will try to get the quarterback to fall asleep and make an easy throw that they have to think about, and then they come in and pick it off and make a big play. Kind of like you hear people talk to quarterbacks, like, hey, bait the defense, make the defense fall asleep and take a shot deep. That's exactly what Michigan's defense tries to do to quarterbacks. They try to make the quarterback fall asleep and then make you pay. So number 1, they try to bait you. Number 2, they're going to try to get pressure, and they brought pressure a decent amount on Fresno State. When I say pressure, they blitzed him 59% of Mikey Keene's dropbacks, right? Which isn't always the case. Again, not sure if they're going to do that to Sark and his offense. Are they going to try to drop 8 and make Quinn pick them apart? I don't know. But last week they did, and they had 15 total pressures, 3 sacks, 11 hurries, and then 1 hit, right? And we're going to see some pressure in the clip as well, right? So Michigan's defense, they're going to try to bait you, and they're going to try to get pressure, whether it's through the blitz, which they chose to do last week, or dropping back 8 and having some nice schematic designed creativity at line of scrimmage. Right. So again, this was Fresno State. It's going to be a total different game plan against Texas, but this is what they showed last week. Okay. All right. So if you're Quinn Ewers, if you're the Texas offense, what do you need to do to have success? Again, we're going to watch a few clips, but what do you need to do to have success if you're Quinn Ewers? I think number 1, I think for them to win, you're going to have to play within Sark's creativity, the creativity of the offense, which we didn't see a bunch of last week against Colorado State. There are a few clips that we're going to show, but we didn't see some of the creative design plays that are maybe a bit complex for defense to pick up last week against Colorado State. They didn't need to show anything last week, but I think this week they will need to kind of reach into Sark's bag, if you will, to have success against Michigan's defense. Because I talked about at the beginning of the video, this team is still one of the best teams in the nation, even though they struggled, even though their offense wasn't great. Don't be fooled. This defense is still elite, even though they had they showed some signs of maybe some places you can push the ball, right? But number 1, play within Sark's creativity of his offense. Number 2, I do think you're going to have some big plays to win. Last week against Colorado State, you didn't, right? That's obvious. But this week, I think you're going to have some big plays to win. So let's get those plays off of play action. I want to get these big plays off of play action. Mikey Keene last week was 5 of 6 off play action. In fact, his most successful type of throws were off play action. They just didn't do it very much. Now, Texas is a bit different. Hopefully, Texas can get that run game going so play action can be utilized. But Quinn Ewers, Sark, the majority of his deep throws anyways, especially last year, were off play action. That's what he's comfortable in doing. So get some big throws off of play action. Try to get that defense out of position. And number 3, well, I just talked about getting some big plays, right? And you need some big plays. That's not necessarily your offense. Your offense isn't built on like a Jalen Milroe where you have to have 4 or 5 completions of 20 yards or more downfield, right? But if you can get 2 or 3, I think that's huge. But at the same time, your offense isn't built around that. So you want to, number 3, rely on what you know. Well, what do you know? What's that offense? Well, it's getting rid of the ball quickly. It's relying on quick play action games, some RPO type reads. You have multiple options, putting the defense in a bad situation and getting rid of the ball quickly and getting the ball to your playmakers. I think that's number 3. Rely on what you know. And if you do that, I think you can threaten, you can do that and you can threaten the field earlier, right? And what I mean is at the beginning of the game, yes, you want to take what the defense gives you, rely on what you know, but I think you want to show, hey, we're going to take some shots. So let's just take some shots. Even if you don't hit it, I want to take a shot or 2 early, and hopefully that opens up the run game a little bit so that play action is utilized more effectively later on in the game, right? The name of the game of Sark's offense is trying to confuse the defense pre-snap and post-snap, showing something pre-snap, whether it's motion or some type of setup they haven't seen before, haven't seen often, trying to confuse them pre-snap, then do something totally different post-snap, trying to get defenders out of position, create easy throws for Quinn. That's what Sark's offense is all about, right? So, okay, so that's the preview. We got just a few clips we're going to watch and wrap this video up. Just 2 clips of Michigan's defense that kind of dives into it in a bit more detail, and then 2 clips of Quinn from last week against Colorado State, the type of throws that I want to see again. It's broadcast footage, not the greatest quality, but it's a good job getting the point across. And if this is your first time tuning in, thank you. We're Big Quarterback Hub. We talk all things SEC quarterback, specifically these film breakdowns. We have 2 shows, recap shows, and the preview shows, which we'll have coming up this week. And we do Texas, or we'll do a Quinn video every week. We'll break down Texas quarterback every week, right? So if that's your cup of tea, please like, share, subscribe. If you're a Michigan fan, don't get mad at me. I gave you your flowers. I think you're a really good team, and this is going to be tough for Quinn to have success. But with that said, let's go ahead and dive into the film. So first clip we're going to check out, this is the pick 6. Let me move this mic. This is the pick 6 of against Fresno State last week. This is just the corner just totally baiting Mikey Keene. Again, this is a quick screen, and he's probably seen this on film who knows how many times, but he was definitely prepared. He knew what was coming. So he was trying to bait Mikey Keene. He was trying to not have pressure, right? Mikey Keene, I know I started this a little late, but he didn't even kind of check to look over. He sees the DB 5 yards off the line of scrimmage. He's thinking nice, quick, easy screen. And that, of course, wasn't the case, right? He baits him coming right off the bat. See, Keene's not even looking at the DB. It's kind of like when you're trying to change lanes and there's a driver in front of you. He doesn't even put his blinker on. He just assumes he can get away with it and kind of pulls over another lane. That's exactly what Keene did here. He just assumed he could get away with his throw. But again, so this DB 5 yards off the line of scrimmage comes in, makes a nice pick. Again, I got to go slow motion so the YouTubers don't get mad at me. But again, he's 5 yards off the line of scrimmage, just trying to bait him, right? And there are other clips that we could have shown here. This was by far the best clip. Trying to bait Mikey Keene to do something he shouldn't do, and that's exactly what happened, right? So if you're Texas, if you're Quinn Ewers, know this going in, know that this Michigan's defense is going to try to show one thing post-snap and maybe something else pre-snap. So they're going to try to bait you somehow, some way. Great example here. So we'll go ahead and we don't watch this whole thing. This next clip is going to be a clip of Michigan getting pressure, a clip of a sack. Let's see, do we keep going? Let's kind of move on. Yep, so we're going to see a sack. We're going to see Michigan does bring, how many? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think they bring 6. One may drop into coverage. We'll see. But this is a sack on Mikey Keene. Again, 59% of – okay, so yeah, so they just bring 5, but still bring pressure. So 59% of Mikey Keene's dropbacks last week, they blitzed, right? So this is an example of them blitzing. And Fresno State has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have 6 guys in to block 5 and can't do – actually, they have 7 guys in to block 5, right? Yeah, because they got 7 here to block 5, and then running back coming out. This guy's got the running back in the flat. But they got 7 guys to block 5, can't do it, ends up being a sack, right? So Quinn Ewers, something he didn't do great last year was hold on to the ball. 25% of the sacks on Quinn were a credit to him. That would have been number one the SEC last year as far as whose fault it was. So if you're Quinn, again, like we talked about, know your game, rely on your game, get rid of the ball quickly. And this next clip coming up showing Quinn is exactly why we want to get rid of the ball quickly and do what you do best. Let me go ahead and move this real quick, move myself out of the way. So this next clip, the ball is going to come out quick little play action. Again, we talked about Quinn, the success of play action, then getting the ball out quickly. So this will help avoid those type of, how do I play this? Help avoid those type of plays against the Texas offense, right? Avoid those sacks, avoid those unwanted sacks. Again, the ball's going to come out quick. We can already see the ball comes out quick from Quinn. Ball comes out quick, play action. Boom. It's actually a pretty good throw, closer than I thought the first time I watched it. So again, for Quinn, rely on what you know. And that's these quick throws, these play action throws. And then we are going to have some shots, rely on Sark's creativity. And we're going to see kind of this kind of deeper shot here. It's play action. So again, we talked about play action being something that Quinn does really well on. And I think like over half his throws last year were off play action. So play action, push the ball downfield, rely on what you know, and kind of stay within Sark's creativity. And I think that should hopefully, keep Michigan's pass rush. Hopefully if you're a Texas fan, right? Texas fan or Quinn Ewers fan. If you're a Texas fan, that hopefully keeps Michigan's pass rush from getting there. And again, like I talked about in the beginning of the video, we just have Fresno State to go off of. They could be doing something totally different. I don't know if they're going to be blitzing as much, but they're definitely going to try to get pressure, and they're definitely going to want to try to bait Quinn Ewers into making bad throws, right? So how do you beat that? Well, you hope that Quinn's experience helps him rise to the occasion, and you hope that they stay within Sark's creative offense, get rid of the ball quickly, rely on what you know, and take some shots downfield off play action. If you're a Texas fan or if you're a Michigan fan, just a fan in general, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think Quinn needs to do to have success against Michigan's defense, and what do you think Michigan's defense needs to do? Right. I know I didn't talk about Michigan's defense per se, but we're a quarterback channel, so we just want to talk about quarterbacks, right? But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And again, like, share, and subscribe, please, if you haven't. And quarterback talk, SEC quarterback talk is your cup of tea. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Peace.